Now, I've made it no secret that I'm a big fan of comic books, and especially comic book movies. And back when I was first getting into comic books, about 2007, 2006, there was one movie that I saw that really got me into it, and it was called X-Men, starring Hugh Jackman. And ever since then, I have been a keen follower of comics and a keen follower of the X-Men movie franchise. So, several years later, Fox released Logan, the supposed final time Hugh Jackman will be betraying his infamous character. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, this film was great. I mean, I have been very excited for this film for a long time, but I didn't think I'd enjoy it. To be honest, I was excited, but I was optimistically excited, as they call it, where you are like, I'll go see this, it'll be so good, but it may not be good. But I really liked it. I thought it was a very good film. Had some very compelling emotional moments if you've been keeping track of the franchise, which is a bit hard because of all the time travel logic and that, but if you've been keeping track of the franchise like I have, I found there was quite a few nice little winks and nods to the rest of the franchise. There were quite a few nice little tidbits and quite a lot of emotional scenes. And don't get me started on the action. The action in this film is brutal because thank God, they actually went for an R-rated Logan Wolverine movie, which I guess makes sense for their final attempt. And it was so good. It was really good. Like, the action is how the character moves in the comics. He cuts people's arms off. He decapitates people. He does all these things that we thought we would never see on the big screen. It is so interesting to see. The story itself is a little bit basic. It kind of feels like an old-fashioned western with the way it's structured. But it's a fun film, especially if you know the characters well. So, like, if you know Charlotte Xavier and you know Wolverine, then you'll probably have a good time. I would not suggest going into this movie if you've not seen any of the X-Men films, because I don't think you'll get it. Just not insulting anyone's intelligence or anything, I'm saying because you won't have the emotional connections to these characters that fans over time have. And I'm not saying, oh, it's so good for the fans. It is good for the fans, and it will work as a standalone movie, but I do not feel it's as strong as, say, something like X-Men 2 or Days of Future Past or First Class or even Deadpool compared to as a standalone movie. Whereas this kind of works as a ensemble piece, which makes sense because it's trying to conclude a 17-year going franchise. So yeah, they were just some very brief thoughts on Logan. I will most likely be doing a more in-depth look at the film, actually, because soon, well, not soon, but later in the year, I'm hoping to do an X-Men retrospective where I talk about, like, all 10 of the X-Men movies, and possibly Legion, which is really good, by the way. But as far as going back to Logan, it's just very well structured. It's very basic, but it accomplishes what it's meant to do with its basicness. Like, the story is very basic. Well, as basic as you can get for a story with a guy with giant metal claws coming out of his hands. Yeah, so for me at least, this is a very biased thing because I've been a big fan, but for me at least, I'm going to give this film, out of 5 stars, I'll probably give it a 4.5, because it's not a perfect film, because the continuity, as I said, through the 17-year franchise isn't so strong, because if it is set in continuity, which is up for debate, if it is set into continuity as the X-Men movies, it does not work because there are so many plot holes that don't work. For example, this is a spoiler here, so if you don't want spoilers, don't watch this bit. Just skip until I've stopped talking about it, or possibly to the end of the review. But in the film, there's a scene, there's a whole subplot about a bullet, an adamantium-coated bullet, which he got in X-Men Origins Wolverine. But due to the events of X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men Origins Wolverine no longer happened, so he couldn't have got the bullet. And that was the one thing that really annoyed me in this film, because it could have been something more. If they really paid attention to what they've actually set out in these films, then it would have been a lot better. I know that's a really nerdy thing to get upset about, but I mean, it was meant to be Hugh Jackman's last time, and yet they can't even get their continuity right. So yeah, that was Logan. Again, another spoiler here, just to clear something up. If you've seen the X-Men movies, which if you're watching this you probably have, right at the end of 2016's X-Men Apocalypse, there was a post-credits teaser, which said that some DNA of Wolverine's had been taken to Essex Corp. And yet Essex Corp isn't mentioned. That's just another continuity error that, like, just, So yeah, that's why it didn't get a 5 stars. Everything else was good apart from the continuity, but then the X-Men movies never have a concrete continuity. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.